Fig is a cocktail ingredient. It just doesn't get mentioned that often, but I absolutely adore it. I would probably go as far as to say it would be one of my top 10 flavors to put in cocktails. When it comes to food, I can't get enough of the stuff. On toast is amazing, fig jam on toast. But if I have like cheese toasties, some of this drizzled over the top, hot melted cheese with like fig jam or fig puree, just taste flipping fantastic. But as I say, cocktails, this kind of deep and rich and sweet, luxurious, honeyed-like fruit, if you want to call it a fruit. I don't think it's technically called a fruit, but it just deserves a lot more love. So coming up in this video today, I've got 5 fantastic fig cocktails that I want to share with you, plus another 4 I want to give a notable mention to. I just wanted to add this in quickly while the camera's still rolling. I've finished filming. I'm adding this in. I wanted to add this in because I've just walked out of here for the first time. I've been filming in here for about an hour and 15, hour and 20 minutes. I've walked out of here. I've gone into the kitchen, been in there about 5 minutes, come back in, and all I can smell is fig. And I just wanted to give that sort of shout out, because if you think this stuff is just like fake and like rubbish or any of that stuff, honest to God, this has just filled this complete entire room with the aroma of fig, and you can't mistake it either. We might as well start off with these 2. Probably I would call them highballs. I don't need to show you how to make these, just a notable mention. This is a fig mule. It's just simply vodka, Dutch Farm vodka with ginger beer, some lime, Angostura bitters or my aromatic bitters. That's what I kind of use in there. And that is incredible. Fig and ginger is a match made in heaven. That's perfect. The recipes for all these will be with the other 5 in the description below. And this time of year, I can't help but play with snowball recipes. Snowballs, for those of you that watch in the US, is our Advocaat, Warnick's Advocaat. It's, you know, it's basically your eggnog, but we just go nuts. This has been around since the 50s, probably 60s, maybe even earlier than that. And it's incredible. So just to add Warnick's Advocaat, a bit of fig puree, some lemonade, and this to turn it this colour, because this ingredient is coming out in one of these cocktails. I did play with this on a live stream a couple of weeks ago. I've just got some port. So that is a port and fig snowball. Absolutely delightful. So let's crack on with these 5 recipes. As I say, these were kind of developed in a live stream a few weeks ago. Some shout outs to, I'm just going to mention 2 here, Liam and Paul, that attempt to tempt me as Paul. Liam is Marshall Man, I think it is. These 2 of these recipes kind of came the inspiration. Then I've been tweaking them, and these are what I would put on like a cocktail menu or publish in a book. So the first one of these is kind of like a fig and blackberry Amaretto sour, recipe tweaked, beautiful. So in an attempt to make these videos a little bit more concise and less waffle, I'm just going to explain the ingredients first and then show you quickly how to make it. Should shorten the videos. So on the live stream that we did, the inspiration came for this. Can't remember whether it was Liam or Paul, but one of them had just bought the Jack Daniel's Blackberry, I'm going to say, blackcurrant, blackberry, whichever one it was. That's where the inspiration came from. I don't have that. On the live stream, I did use Halfpenny's original blend, Dublin Irish whiskey there. But since that live stream, I have now been out to Dublin, out to this distillery, and actually found, like, I'd had a proper tasting of all of their whiskies, and actually found the next one up in the range is, for me, a better shout in cocktails. This is highballs, all day highballs, whiskey and soda, whiskey and ginger, whiskey and lemonade. Fantastic. That's where that fits in the market. But this is their 4-barrel blend, 43% ABV, bit deeper, bit spicier, just carries those flavours through cocktails. Beautiful. This in this recipe, beautiful. Amaretto, I'm not going to get too preachy about that. It's just what I have behind the bar. I do prefer this to Disaronno, but you do you. Creme de Mure is the blackberry, your brand of choice. And then we've got obviously got REAL's Fig Puree. Just going to balance out with a little bit of lemon juice. You could go bitters if you wanted to. I'm not going to use any egg white or aquafaba. I'm just going to keep it as it is. But again, as this is a sour, if you want to make it more velvety, go for it. So the ratio I settled on, because this is slightly higher in ABV and because it is got those bigger, bolder, sort of spicier notes to it, 40 ml, 40 of your favourite whiskey, I'm just going to say. Then, as mentioned, your Amaretto of choice. They do all taste different, so go and taste them. Find your favourite. There is big differences for me between Luxardo and Di Serrano, but you do you. 20ml, 2-0. I think this is where I went wrong in the live stream. I kind of went a bit too heavy on the creme de mure. This is big, bold, rich, vibrant. You don't need that much at all. So we're just going for 10ml of this Blackberry liqueur. Now you don't need to measure this, a decent squirt, but for the sake of this video, I am at 20ml. 20ml I find is always the sweet spot for these purees. Purees in general, you can come down to 15ml, but I just think these, especially the Real, is perfect at 20ml. So that is what we are going for. And then some lemon juice. I just want for this to balance it beautifully, 30ml, 1 ounce. Now, I did mention I wasn't going to do any aquafaba or egg white, and I was right, but what I completely forgot is I was actually going to add 10 drops of my foamers. I love this stuff, just to give it that nice white frothy head. Then after a quick shake, I'm just going to pour it into my favourite glass. Glass choice is completely up to you, but I'm just going for a double old-fashioned glass. Oh, I adore this. It's so good. The flavours balance so well. The fig, that honeyed figgy notes with the berry is genius. Love that. You've got that spiciness of that whiskey that just carries forward there. You've got this subtle sort of amaretto note that comes through there as well. It is just gorgeous. It's probably an autumnal, wintry kind of drink. That's got to be up there with one of the go-to drinks of this time of year. That's perfect. Now for cocktail number 2, no name for this, but I'm super happy with this from that cocktail development live session a couple of weeks ago. This is kind of your Tiki version or Tiki Fig recipe for this video. I always love to throw in something like this. And honestly, this didn't need much tweaking at all. It was just purely the ratios of what I did for the rums. So as you could probably see here, hopefully, we have got OFTD, that kind of like really punchy 69% ABV rum from Plantaray. I've got the Stiggins Fancy, their pineapple rum. That's the larger proportion of the split base there. The banana, I did actually try this just for my own amusement with the Giffard banana, but the Tempest Fugit romped it because it is deeper and richer. Just worked super, super well with this. We've got Bristol's Falernum, which, you know, again, wasn't the swap or anything like that. That was in that live stream. And then the fig, and I'm just going to balance that with some lime juice. So to make this recipe, we're going to start off with our base of the 2 rums, the larger proponent here. The Stiggins Fancy up to 40ml, okay? 40ml. And no, that doesn't mean we're going for 20ml of the OFTD. Oh, flipping aura, that is delicious. Actually, all you need here is 10ml. Just need that because it's so punchy. Just that deep, rich flavour just worked so well. So 10ml of OFTD. Give you a little close up of the banana. I do think it is worth having the 2 different bananas like this, the Tempest Fugit, which is bigger, bolder, richer, and like from what I've got, the Giffard creme de banana. I think because they work differently in different cocktails, different flavour profiles, but both banana. And for stuff like this, you know, it's a totally different cocktail with the Giffard. So I'm going for 15ml, half an ounce of the Tempest Fugit. Then the sweet spot for these Reals, as I always say, 20ml. 20ml is perfect there. So we've got the fig. Then I've got my Falernum syrup, Bristol's Falernum. This is totally different to John D. Taylor's Velvet Falernum. This is bolder, without quite going to the lengths of the Bitter Truth and that sort of gingery feistiness. This for me, because it's a sugar syrup, like an out and out syrup, I just think it works better for my style of cocktail. So I adore this, but 10ml, that is all you need. And then just to round this off, you don't need much of this at all, 15ml. You could go an ounce of lime juice, but I just felt that was too citrusy. So my sweet spot, 15ml, half an ounce. Then the glass I'm going to use here is just like a nice 14.5, 15 ounce highball. Because I've used smaller ice, I'm just going to do a shake and dump. And then if you've got crushed ice, use crushed ice, but I don't think you need to. I'm just going to crown it with a bit more ice, that's all. That is gorgeous. For a tiki drink, it's got shades of tropical, shades of tiki, level of spices, level of fruity flavours. The pineapple doesn't go missing, the banana doesn't go missing. The extra bump of OFTD certainly helps there. You get that lovely honeyed, deep, rich, figgy flavour that comes through there, but you also get that spice note of that falernum. Beautifully rounded, doesn't need bitters at all. You've got your spice from the falernum. That is stunning. Love that. Now, the other two notable mentions I want to give as well, typically not cocktails that I would make, but I do like them from time to time. Negroni Manhattan. This is just the straightforward, and it's absolutely gorgeous. You know, I understand that the Negroni lovers will want a crystal clear drink, or like a red crystal clear drink, if that makes sense. So the fig in this does kind of make it cloudy. And I have seen bars that actually have fig infused Campari. Strawberry infused Campari is a big one, as I mentioned on that live stream, but like fig, I've seen that done before. So you can go that way. But for this, I've just used the Halfpenny dry gin. And then, as I always mention, I'm lucky that just down the road from me, I have got one of the best bitter and vermouth people in the UK. Vault, Saffron Walden, that's where these guys are. They've got lots of sort of Michelin star bars using these, and restaurants in London. They've got the collab there, as you can see, with Manteca. Incredible stuff. So that does help to make these cocktails taste a lot better than what you would do if you were making Campari, or using Campari, for example, or your likes of Martini Rosso. So that's the Negroni. The Manhattan, I've actually made with the Halfpenny 4-blend cask, or the 4-cask blend, I should say. 43%, as I mentioned. Hints, big, bold, sort of rich, spicy notes. Absolutely beautiful. So we've got that. We've got the fig. And then it's just these aromatic bitters in there. Again, aromatic bitters, use your kind of choice, whatever you want to go to. But they are booze-forward sippers where that fig does work exceptionally well. So for your third recipe, I'm going to treat you to a caipirinha, well, a caipirinha at least, done properly, because I have actually got a lime. Normally I'd use lime juice for these sort of things, but we're actually going to cut and muddle a lime. 4 ingredients. This has been a stalwart for me way back in the 2000s. Slightly different ingredients now, but essentially it's a fig and honey caipirinha. Works exceptionally well. Ingredients wise, I'm not endorsing this brand. A honey liqueur of that. That's all I've got at the moment. Cascabel is something else I've had. I do actually want to go back to Krupnik. I want to try Krupnik, so I haven't had that in years, and that was a bartender favourite, like way back in the sort of 80s and 90s. I used to use it in 2000s, 2010s. Haven't had a bottle probably like 10, 12 years or so now. So I really want to go back to that. And after playing about with some rums, what I found was actually aged rums works better than the white rums that I've got here, or the younger aged rums. Now, Dropworks isn't necessarily an aged rum in that respect. I think it's 6 months at there, but it works so incredibly well. This is their barrel drop, and it just, as I say, it's beautiful in this cocktail. So kind of like an English style honey and fig caipirinha. Right, let's see if I remember how to chop a lime. I haven't done this for a flipping long while. Say, I've always got juice and I kind of do that, but you know, even I will admit that if you are making a caipirinha, they are better with chopped up lime. So lime, half it, quarter it, discard 1/4 because you only need sort of 3/4 of a lime. Then cube that. That should give you 6 little chunks. Dump them in the glass. And I was going to go for sugar then automatically. This is where you want your fig. You want some kind of syrupy sweetness. There we go. Water, just rinsing that out. 20 ml of your fig syrup. See, I know a lot of other YouTube bartenders would retake that or kind of edit it out or do whatever. Now we keep all that stuff in, don't we? It's fun, isn't it? Got to rinse your jiggers out, and you know, don't miraculously think these jiggers just sort of clean themselves. Right, muddler. This is where you do actually want a muddler. For this, I don't normally endorse muddling, especially with mint, flat end of a bar spoon at the very most, but you do need a proper muddler here. We're going to extract all that flavour out the lime, but essentially that juice, that sort of flavour out the zest. That's what you want. So push down, muddle, get all that flavour into your glass. Now, one thing I didn't mention, for my style of making this, it is imperative that you use a toughened glass, but you can make this in a shaker, shake it and pour it back into a glass, but I shake directly into this glass. So to wash this jigger figure out, instead of water, we can go this time 15 ml, half an ounce of your honey liqueur of choice. Then we've got our barrel drop from Dropworks, Europe's biggest rum distillery. There we go, 45 ml, 1.5 ounces. Perfect rum for this cocktail. But that's not to say your Jamaican rums, your white unaged rums aren't going to work. Rum is the most diverse spirit category in the world. You know, one white rum is going to taste completely different to another white rum. One aged rum is going to taste completely different to another one. It is up to you to find your favourite rums. We can all sort of tell you what they taste like, but none of us can really guide you into a definitive rum that you must use. Right, sort of cracked, chunky ice into the glass. Toughen glass. Make sure you've got a nice, decent fit over your shaker. Just quick shake. And then it's just pouring this straight back into your glass. I've just topped with more ice. By the way, once you make 3, you've all got enough limes to make a 4th one. So you need 3 limes to make 4 caipirinhas. That's the whole story really behind that. But yeah, so keep that to one side. Top with more ice, jobs are good. That is where my love of fig comes from. I mentioned at the top, like fig will be probably my top 10 flavours in cocktails that I absolutely adore. It's because of this cocktail. The fig and honey caipirinha. I think I first made this 2002, 2003, maybe, put it on a menu. Just incredible. I was using cachaça then. I've got lots of rum now, but it's just a beautiful, beautiful cocktail. Now for your 4th and penultimate recipe, this is a big riff on a Tradewinds Cocktail. This was a joint effort, collab effort in that live stream development session a couple of Sundays ago. Tradewinds, we're essentially swapping out like your peach or your apricot liqueur for the fig puree. Now this is going to make it slightly sweeter. The apricot liqueur is obviously sweet as well. So I'm just going to add a touch more lemon juice. And I'm actually only going to use 1 rum. Again, I played with this because I had this out. I just made little ones. But again, the Dropworks, the barrel drop just works so well in here. I was trying to do like a white rum. I haven't really got like a proper cocktail white rum without the big, bold, funky notes of Stella. And I found that didn't work in this cocktail. Kind of needs some like Planter 3 stars or, you know, the white Dropworks or something like that. But what I found is the barrel drop, because it is a youngish rum that has been aged a little bit, like 6 months old, I think it is, something like that, that the character profile just works so well. So we've got fig, we've got coconut, we've got lemon juice, and just 1 rum and the barrel drop. So to make this, my one exception, when I say 20 ml is about the sweet spot for all these reals and that. My one exception is actually the coconut, because when I do pina coladas and stuff like that, I actually go 30 ml. All right, I think the coconut just works beautifully at 30 ml with pineapple. So 3-0 with my bottle kill. Oh yeah, we've got enough there. 3-0 of your cream of coconut. Little bits on the chopping board mean you could do that. Right, let's go for that fig syrup, fig puree from Real. Now we're back to 20 ml of this. We could just use this coconut end. Then I've just got my lemon juice, nearest damn it, 100% proper lemon juice, just a tiny bit of antioxidant that every single bottle of wine has. 30 ml. And then for my rum, here we go, Dropworks. Let's give a little shout out for them. We're going big, we're going bold, 60 ml, 2 ounces. Double bubble. Then after a good shake, or you could just do this on a flash blender, shake and dump into your favourite sort of highballish glass. That is a great rum tropical cocktail. I wouldn't call it tiki, I would call it tropical. Not overly sweet, actually, to be fair, even though you put the coconut and the fig in, not overly sweet. The lemon juice beautifully balances that out. That rum is super good in there. Yes, our other rum's going to work. Of course they are. Play about, is what I said in the last cocktail. But this is just incredible. I use that word a hell of a lot, but this is super, super tasty. So your 5th and final recipe. This one, I think I called it the Sun King. I don't remember where this cocktail came from, but it was definitely an early 2000s one for me. At the same time, I was rocking out the Honey and Fig Caipirinhas. This, if you remember at the top, I said I had port out for, and I just tried to pour it in the Snowball. This is why the port is out. Beautiful, beautiful cocktail. So it is a brandy-based cocktail. I've never swapped it for rum, to what I know of. You know, I've always done this as a brandy. Always. I haven't made this cocktail, except for that live stream, for a long while. But we did crack it out in the live stream, and it was justified being there because it's made the top 5 cocktails. So incredible. So Burnt Faith brandy. Let's give you a little close-up of that. English brandy, North London, Walthamstow Way. Absolutely delightful. We've got white cacao. We've got our fig syrup there. We've got LBV port, late bottle vintage. My recipe did have tawny port, but this is kind of what we have, or like a special reserve port in the house. And my lime juice. Simple as that. Right then, let's crack on and make this. Give you another close-up of this. My English brandy. I should do a lot more with these guys. It's phenomenal stuff. Don't just not use a brandy and use cognac because you think cognac is better. These guys are right up there, if not outperforming and out doing better stuff than a lot of cognac brands. You know, don't just think the best brandy is cognac. Some of the Spanish stuff I flipping love as well, but this stuff is incredible. 45 ml, 1.5 ounces of your favourite brandy or cognac. Then we've got some Cacao Blanc. Again, your brand of choice. I just use everything Giffard because I like them. I think they're up there. For me personally, I think they're the best sort of liqueur brand out there. But hey, do you. 15 ml, 1/2 ounce. And then we've got this port. Again, you know, play about with different ports. Don't go overkill here. Don't go too much because it then goes too much the other way. 15 ml, 1/2 ounce is all I want. Then I've got my fig syrup. So I want 20 ml of that. Remember, that is always the sweet spot for this kind of stuff. Then my lime juice, long life, shelf stable, tiny bit of antioxidant there to make it, you know, that all the wine industry uses. So don't think it's bad stuff. It is 99.9% lime juice. All right, just works for people like me at home. 22.5 ml, 3/4 ounce. Then after a quick shake, I think this one definitely deserves to go into your nicest, poshest coupe glass. Oh, I adore that. So easy to drink. I love brandy cocktails because you get that booze element, but it's so easy to drink. You know, there's nothing harsh in there. There's nothing feisty. It's just a lovely, rounded spirit, coupled with that port, coupled with that fig. And I tell you what, you get a little aroma, but that very subtle backbone of chocolate. Would I put 20 ml in there to up it to get more of chocolate? No, I just like that little subtleness at the back. That's smashable. That is so flipping tasty. Well then, so that's me done. Recipes are in the description below, including the other 4 notable mentions, the Mule, the Snowball, the Fig Negroni and the Fig Hatton. They're all there. Let me know your favourites.